Hi everyone, I'm Nicole, STEMxSTITCH. Today is May 14th, 2023, and this is Flosstube number 13. As of today, I have stitched 173,995 stitches since I started stitching in 2020. And since the last time I gave you a stitch update, I have stitched 4,815 stitches. So I know it's been a while since I posted a normal Flosstube video. Things have been absolutely incredibly busy, and I have been traveling and then back and had a million experiments to do in lab, so I'm glad that I can finally be here and give you all an update on what I've been up to stitching wise and a little bit otherwise. So let's just hop right in. So last video, I showed you a pattern called Boho Cactus that I had converted from a cross-stitch pattern into a satin stitch pattern, and I was stitching that for my dad for his birthday. And I was really close to having it done last time, and I was able to just go pick up the floss that I ran out of and finish it up and fully finish it. And I gave it to him when I saw my family last month. And so I don't have it with me anymore, so I can't show you the fully finished object in person, but I do have a picture that I'll throw in of what it looks like completed, that my dad took once I gave it to him. So I just finished it in a hoop. I put some felt over the back to cover up the ends of the fabric, and I think it turned out really nicely. So I finished Boho Cactus. Oh, the pattern that I use for inspiration is from KarmaStitchPatterns. I did it on 28 count even weave, and I'm realizing that I have a typo in my spreadsheet. Okay, I did it on 28 count even weave with DMC. I took inspiration from the called for colors, but I switched them up, I think, a little bit, mostly the green, and then I switched it to satin stitch like I said. And I had started that on April 2nd. I finished it on April 10th with a total of 4 days working on it. So it was a really fast project for me. I find that the satin stitch projects tend to go a lot faster than, you know, a cross stitch of the same size would, because, you know, you're able to replace basically an entire like column of cross stitches with 1 or 2 satin stitches. So it's much faster. So after I finished Boho Cactus, so this is back in April, it's been a while, right? I'm gonna try to give you a bit of a wrap up of what happened at the end of April, though my memory is not the best as to exactly what happened. So after Boho Cactus, I was on a trip down to California to see my family, to go to San Diego for a conference, and to spend a bit of time with my partner in San Diego checking out the city. And on that trip, I brought with me a pattern called called The Kiss, which is one of the mini art patterns by TheStitchPatterns. And I'll put up what the pattern looks like here. And this is like a super easy pattern to take with you places, right? It's small, I stitch it in hand. It takes up just like a little bit of space in your luggage. And I finished that on this trip. And if you watched my last video, which was a stitch with me on the train, I was taking the train from Santa Barbara to San Diego, and I finished all the cross stitching on that piece then. And then when I got back from the trip, I did the back stitching, which I think really gave it a nice, a bit of additional detail. Now again, I don't have this project with me. It's at home, I forgot to bring it. And so I'll put in a picture of my finished stitching. I think it turned out nicely. The patterns from the mini art patterns often call for call for back stitches that like end in the middle of a cross stitch. And so since I stitch these on 28 count over 2, basically making it 14 count, I can kind of get away with doing that, but I find that sometimes it pulls the cross stitches a little weirdly, so I'm not sure how I feel with that, but I just kind of went with it. I do these in DMC, like I said, over 2, but I use 3 strands because I like really dense coverage. And this piece had 1,120 stitches in it, and I started it on April 5th. I finished it on April 27th. for a total of 12 days, 12 stitching days. I haven't yet fully finished it, but I really just need to put it in one of those small 2x3 frames that they sell at Michael's. I have a few at my house. I haven't actually put it in the frame yet. So once I do fully finish it, I'll show you the actual object, so that you can see the stitching, not just in a picture of a picture. So that was the kiss, and that was all of the, so one fully finished, one finish, and then I have one UFO to share with you. So I've never UFO'd something before that is unfinished object. Basically when you decide to just scrap a project without finishing it, but I had to do it this time. So this gets a little bit confusing between April and May, but my May WIPGO calls included a call for a damask square by Ink Circles, and that was a piece. I like the pattern a lot. I'll put in a picture of the pattern here. It's really cool. I like Ink Circles patterns. I haven't done many of them yet, but I like the kind of just, you know, like mandala type design and all of that. There's a lot of really gorgeous patterns from Ink Circles. I got like, oh, I don't even know, maybe 6% into this one, and then I just decided I couldn't do it. So I had started this a while ago. I don't even have the start date because it's before I started tracking it, but it was sometime in 2022. I started this project on 56 count white even weave that was very, very kindly sent to me from Kaylee Crossstitch. She was doing a lot of these mini tiny stitching kits, and she would send you like a little piece of really high count fabric and some floss that would go with it, because it's hard to use normal DMC on that small of fabric. So she sent me some Invisifil to go with it and a needle that works for that fabric. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. I was trying 1/1 on 56 count full cross, and I couldn't do it. My eyesight's not good enough. I think I would have needed like a magnifier to do it. I don't wear glasses or contacts or anything, so my vision is decent, but the stitches were just so small. Like I could see them, but after about like 10 minutes of working on it, I just would give myself basically a massive headache. So it wasn't that enjoyable to work on, despite how much I liked the pattern and the idea of having something really tiny like that. I'll put in a picture here of what it looks like when I UFO'd it, if that's helpful. I didn't get very far on it. And that was called, so I had put Damask Square on my WIPGO for this year, thinking if I put it on WIPGO, then I'll finally finish this project, because I had started it and then I just basically put it away for a really long time. And it was called, so I was like, okay, I'll try it. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll like it this time. And the other difference was that this time I had, ooh, let me grab it actually. I had my book light that I use to help me stitch when the lighting's not good or if I'm working on black fabric, and I figured, okay, well, if I use my little like book light, you know, I usually like clip it onto my hoop or whatever. If I use my book light, maybe that will help me work on it for longer and not get a headache, because the light will be brighter and I'll be able to see better. Didn't help. I tried it for about an hour and it was not enjoyable. So I think it was worth it to UFO this. I don't like the idea of UFOing things. It kind of gives me the same feeling of like starting a book and not finishing it, which I used to never do. And in the last couple of years have decided, like, why am I going to, you know, make myself finish something that I'm not enjoying in the first place? And what tends to happen when I do that, like with books, for example, is I'll just not read at all instead, because I'll be procrastinating reading this book I'm not enjoying very much. And rather than picking up another book and starting it, I'll just be like, oh, I'll finish it sometime. And so I kind of felt like that was what was going to happen with this project, was I was just going to like keep procrastinating it, or it was going to be like the top of my goals list, and rather than stitching on it, I was just going to not stitch. So that is a easy UFO. I think I would like to do the pattern damask square on some different fabric sometime. I do still really like the pattern. And I reached out to Kaylee after trying this 56 count and asked if she had any tiny stitching kits left, that if she could send me some 40 count fabric, because I thought, okay, maybe 56 count is too high, but maybe I can do 40 count, right? Because I'd done 36 count over 2 for 18 count, so maybe I can do 40 count over 1. I haven't tried that yet, but maybe if it'll fit on the piece of fabric that I got, I'll try damask square on that one instead. I'm not too sure yet. So right now, no plans to restart it, but that's in the UFO pile. I think I'm just gonna, you know, it'll just hang out in my stash of things. And I decided to do what I think Michelle Bendy Stitchy does, which is if you decide to UFO project or pass it on for somebody else to finish for you, you get to count that as a completed WIPGO goal. So to me, that was a completed WIPGO goal. It was a big decision for me to actually let myself UFO something, so I think that is worth it. And I had damask square on for 2 spots in WIPGO, so I marked one as finished and I replaced the other with a different project. So that is that. That's my UFO. Okay, so let's go on to WIPs. Most of my WIPs, basically all of the WIPs that I'm going to show you have primarily worked on in May. Most of my work in April was on boho cactus, mini art, the kiss, and did I say April? Yeah, sorry. In April, I mostly worked on boho cactus, which I showed you, mini art, the kiss. I put in one last day on elegant lace to finish my WIPGO goal from March, but that was back in April 1st. So I think I already showed you that. I spent a couple days working on Hidden Harbor because that was one of my other April WIPGO goals, and I just never hit that goal. Talk more about that in a minute. And then I spent a bit of time working on Luna Moth and a lot more time working on Luna Moth this month, so I will share that with you now, I think. Yeah, let's do WIPs. So I have 3 WIPs to show you. Yeah, the first is Luna Moth. I feel like I need to hold something behind this. Maybe my tablet case. Okay, so here is Luna Moth. This is a pattern by Wild Bluebell Patterns. I am doing it on 18 count Zweigart Black Ada. I feel like I'm holding it crooked. Maybe I am. And I'm really liking how this one's turning out. I am currently 83.73% done, which is 3,046 stitches out of a total of 3,638. So I have less than 600 stitches left and then some back stitching to do, and my goal is to finish this month. I started this pattern, let's see, on February 27th as a commission from my good friend from undergrad, Allie. She asked if I could stitch this for her, and I said yes, I would love to. And I think I had originally promised her that I would finish it in 2 months. Well, that would have been at the end of March, so I'm a little behind. And I told her that I would try to finish it by the end of May. So even though this isn't my WIPGO goal or anything right now, it is my priority. I've been working on it pretty much every day in May so far. And it's stitched up pretty quick, right? Like the whole thing is like 3,500 stitches, so that's not too many stitches in the grand scheme of things. And I'm getting pretty close. I have a little bit more of this brighter green to add in these leaves on this side and this side, and then there's some roses here that I need to do, and then there's just a little bit of back stitching to kind of connect some of the leaves and stuff like that. And I think a little bit of detail in the moth, and then it will be done. So I think I will finish this in May. I've been enjoying it, and the plan is to get a nice, I think walnut stained hoop to put this in. I'll finish it all up for Allie, and then I'll send it over to her. So I need to find a hoop. Unfortunately, the one I wanted is currently not in stock, so I'm either gonna have to be patient and wait for it or find a different option. So if you know of any good places to buy stained embroidery hoops from. I was looking on Etsy. Of course, I can't remember who the seller was, but there's like one seller who sells a lot of stained hoops, and unfortunately she is out right now. But yeah, that's this project. I don't think, oh, I guess I didn't say I'm doing this 2/1 full cross on 18 count with some of the called for DMC and some substitutions that Allie and I picked out together for some of the colors that she wanted to look a little bit different. So like, I think this darker blue in the wings is not called for. And we changed out a couple of the other like greens and stuff like that, but I think it's turning out really nicely. So that is Luna Moth. The next thing that I've been working on is Ocean Wave. So this is Ocean Wave 341 by ZephyrMood. Here's what it's looking like so far, kind of like a bunch of blobs of nothing. I have been working up here on this part, just filling in all of this color because there's a lot of it across here. And it's always nice to have some brainless stitching to do. So this is also 2/1 full cross on 18 count, but this is, yeah, this is Ada. I'm doing it with the called for DMC. It's a full coverage piece. It's supposed to look like an aerial view of a wave. I've forgotten to show you the actual pattern. Okay, here's what the final piece looks like. Yeah, so this was a call for my May WIPGO. I started, okay, I'm not explaining this well. It was already called once this year, and that was to get to 33%, a third of the way done. I hit that WIPGO goal. It was called again for May. That goal was to get another third of the way done, so 66%. I'm working on that right now, but I am currently at 39.24%, so I still have a bit of a ways to go. This piece in total is 9,532 stitches, and I'm only 3,740 complete. So I have, you know, like over 2,000 stitches left to hit that goal. I'm getting a little bit nervous that I might not finish this in May, but I think if I can finish Luna Moth up quickly, then I can spend a little bit more time focusing on this, and maybe I will hit that goal. So those are my two biggest goals in the next couple weeks as we approach the end of May, is to finish Luna Moth and to hit my WIPGO goal on this. And then the other WIP that I have to show you, I also don't have with me. I'm very unprepared in terms of having my stitching with me today. And that is my Heaven and Earth Designs Hidden Harbor. I'll put in the mock-up of that there. Gorgeous piece. It's my big full coverage piece right now, so it's a long-term project for sure. I haven't gotten to work on it that much lately, but it was called for my April WIPGO, and I didn't finish my goal. So let me throw in a picture of where I'm at. I'll take a picture of that. I've done maybe like a few hundred stitches since it was called in April. I just really didn't have time to pick it up with all the other things I wanted to complete, and then I was traveling a lot, so I didn't get a lot of stitching time, and this project is like too big to bring around on a trip with you, so I didn't do that. And I was hoping that I would catch up on that WIPGO goal this month, but now I'm not even sure if that's gonna happen. But I kind of decided that, like, even though it doesn't really matter, that if I was going to let one goal kind of fall away, I would just prioritize finishing all my other goals, so I'm only finishing one of them late, if that makes sense. So like, rather than finish my Hidden Harbor goal because it was called and I'm already late on it, I'll just keep letting it be late, and I'll finish my other goals, my new calls on WIPGO, so that I'm not late on those ones. So if I don't finish Hidden Harbor this month for that old WIPGO goal, that's fine. Ultimately, what I really want is to just finish all of these goals by the end of the year. So I'll get to it eventually. Maybe I'll have more time next month. I'm not sure. But right now I am 14,140 stitches in. Total stitches are 135,150. So that puts me at 10.46%. And each time this gets called on WIPGO, I am trying to increase my percent complete by 5%. So it was called twice already. I hit both of those goals. I was at 10%. And then since then I've gotten an extra 0.46% complete. So I have a lot left to do to hit that goal. It's fine. I started that this year in January. It was kind of my new year, new start. And also I needed a new big, like, full coverage piece. And I decided to do it on 25 count even weave, like easy count Lugana. So it has those like gray squares. Really nice to not have to like grid your own fabric, because I did that with my last full coverage and it was kind of a pain. It took a lot of time. I'm doing it with the called for DMC, of course, but I'm doing it 2/1 half stitch, so it goes a lot faster than if it was full cross stitch. And I've been really enjoying that aspect of it. It's part of the reason that I've gotten as far as I have, right? Like, I definitely wouldn't be over 10% complete if I was doing full cross by now. So, and I think the like effect is still really good. I don't think it has changed the appearance of the piece too much, at least at this point, but we'll see how it looks in the end. Yeah, so those are all of the whips that I have to share. I will talk a little bit about my April stats. I can throw in a couple other pictures. It's gonna be pictures galore. So I normally show you my notebook where I keep my like handwritten tracker of what I've worked on each day and some end of month stats. And then I do transfer that over to digital format also, because it's nice to have it all. I don't know. I just do. So I have a picture of like my daily tracker for April, which I can put in here. You can see that I worked on 5 different projects in April. And you can also see in red at the top all of my days that I didn't stitch. So April was not a really big stitchy month for me. I didn't get that much done. And I had 6 days that I didn't stitch at all. Most of that was at least in part due to traveling, which is fine. That's just, I've noticed that that's what happens when I travel. It gets hard for me to stitch like I normally would. So that is that. And then in terms of my progress toward, in terms of finishes, I still did finish 2 things in April. They were both small, but that's nice. I finished Boho Cactus and Mini Art the Kiss. And then in terms of total stitches for the month, I will put up my graph for this year so far. I've been keeping track of how many stitches I've stitched each month. It's a little bit of a sad graph because right now my amount of stitching has decreased every month so far, and this month it was so low. I only stitched 2,642 stitches in the entire month of April, which I thought was a little bit of a bummer. But I have also stitched like 33,000 stitches this year so far. I'm also tracking it as like a cumulative stitching, which I can show you here. So I mean, I have made a lot of stitching progress, and April was just a hard month with travel. I also wasn't really working on Hidden Harbor, which normally, you know, kind of artificially boosts my stitch number because it's half stitches and they go faster, but I count them the same. So a lot of reasons why it was a less productive month in terms of cross stitching, but oh well. May has already been a better stitching month. I have almost stitched as many stitches as I did in all of April and half of May, right? It's only the 14th. So this month will be better. All right, so that's kind of a wrap up for April. And then I have already talked about my WIPGO a lot, but let me just put in a picture of my WIPGO board so I can give you a better update of what's been going on there. So in April, my calls were the Kiss for a finish, which I completed, and Hidden Harbor to 15%, which I have not completed. So it's called but not met. And then for May, my calls were Ocean Wave to 2/3 complete, that is not currently finished, but that's in progress and I can still meet it on time. And then my other call was Damask Square to 50%, which I UFO'd and then counted as complete. So right now I'm standing at 2 goals that I haven't completed yet that have been called. One of which I hope to complete within this month. The other is a little bit of a stretch, so we'll just see what happens. So that's my WIPGO. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good. Let's see, how long has it been? Okay, not too bad. It's been almost 30 minutes. I think that's all of the like actual stitching that I have to show you. I do have a couple purchases and life updates and a really, really exciting update that I've saved to the end and haven't even teased yet, so please stick around for that. So purchases. I haven't bought much lately, although I'm in the mood to pick up some new fabric. I really want to take a trip down to Thread Needle Street in Issaquah, which is my local needle workshop, and take another look at their hand-dyed fabrics and just the fabric colors that they have available before I decide to order something online, because it's really nice to be able to look at them in person, right? So maybe I'll try to do that soon. I'm just not really sure when I'll have time. What I have purchased yesterday on a bit of a whim, had been considering it for a long time, is the Stitchers Collective Earth Day fundraiser pattern pack. So if you haven't heard of this, I'm telling you very, very late in the game. I believe it ends on May 15th, which is tomorrow. Or if I post this video really late, then it's today. So the Stitchers Collective is a group of cross-stitch pattern designers, and they had a bunch of designers, I think like 31 designers, create patterns for Earth Day that they shared with the Stitchers Collective in this pack of patterns that you could get if you made a donation to a one of the charities that they had as an option that support a variety of like sustainability and like environmental type, wow, words are failing me. Environmental activism, basically, a variety of charities for that. And so by donating at least $10, but as much as you want, you can get these patterns. You can get all of the patterns, which is incredible. And so you should definitely visit the Stitchers Collective Instagram page. It's just at the Stitchers Collective. They have all the information there. They also have like previews of all the patterns, and there's some really, really gorgeous ones. The one that I'm personally most excited to start is, I'll put a picture, Sprouting Lupine's pattern called Greenwashing. It's giving ink circles to me. I thought this was an ink circles pattern when I opened it. It is so gorgeous, and I love the green, so I really want to start this one. I have no idea when I'll actually do that, but that is going to be the first pattern that I do from this pack. Yeah, so you're getting like over 30 patterns for, you know, really, really cheap. If you donate more, I would encourage you to donate more than $10 if you can, but if you do donate $10, then they're far less than $1 per pattern, which is incredible. So that was my main purchase. And then I'll give you the teaser now, which is another part of the reason that I haven't made a lot of progress stitching lately is that I've been spending a lot of time designing patterns and working on trying to open an Etsy shop. So I'm really, really excited about this. Honestly, I might tease this in the title, so maybe it's not so much of a teaser and maybe you've just been waiting the whole video knowing I'm gonna say this. But I want to open my Etsy shop soon, and I think it's possible that I could open it in June. so in the beginning of June. I really hope so, in the beginning of June. That's my goal. So far I've designed 5 patterns and I really like them. I'm really excited about them. I won't be releasing them all at once, but I'll probably be starting with the first one that I designed. And then I've spent a lot of time. This stuff is so time consuming for me. I spent a ton of time working on like the actual PDF pattern, you know, making sure all the colors look good and all the symbols look good, and like designing what I want my patterns to look like, and kind of making like a template for that, and then putting all the information in, all of that. So that took a lot of time last weekend. Then also trying to actually open the physical Etsy shop, or I guess not physical, but open my Etsy shop online has taken a bit of time. But when I do open up my shop, you can find me at STEMxSTITCH on Etsy. That's the name of my shop. I'm really, really excited, you guys. The other thing that I feel like is keeping me from, so I think I have the patterns like mostly put together. I'm stuck on some of the back end stuff on Etsy, which is fine. It's just being time consuming. And like I'm waiting for bank authorization type stuff. But the other thing that's that I'm holding up myself with is I haven't actually stitched my own patterns yet. I just designed them. Which I feel like sounds a little funny. Like, I'm not really sure if I should release the pattern if I haven't even stitched it yet, right? Like, I don't have a model, I just have a mock-up. So I'm trying to decide if I need to completely stitch at least the first one, maybe each one before I release it, or what I want to do there. If you have thoughts about that, please leave me a comment. I'm very curious to hear what you think. Like, would you buy a pattern if the cover picture, like on the Etsy listing, was just a mock-up? Or do you need it to be like an actual stitched model? How much does that matter to you? Or how much does that like change how much you trust the designer? I'm very curious to know. Of course, I'd love to stitch these patterns, but it takes a lot of time, and I have a lot of other stitching that I want to do, so making the time for it on the right time scale to release these patterns, I'm a little concerned about. But I'm going to try to start that first pattern soon. So maybe I will get to release it with a model picture. I'm just not really sure yet. Anyway, please do look out for me opening my shop. I will announce it on Flosstube first, and also on my Instagram. So subscribe here if you want to know when that happens. Follow me on Instagram at STEMxSTITCH. It's also, I think my Instagram handle is in the description. If you want to get an update when I do actually release my first pattern. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that, I think. A couple life updates, I guess. Part of the reason that I haven't been stitching is, like I said, I've been traveling a lot, which is amazing. I'm definitely not complaining about that. I got to film that cute little train video because I was in California, and that trip was really fun. It was great to see my family. I had a great experience at the conference that I went to, and I had a great time spending some time exploring San Diego and enjoying the sun, which I think I brought back with me to Seattle, honestly. It's been so gorgeous here the last few days. It's 80 degrees outside in Seattle right now, and it's May. That is lucky. Last year it did not get nice until like early July, and it felt like the longest winter ever. So I am so happy it's nice and warm here. I like barely know what to do with myself. I don't know, like I had to put my sweaters away. We have like fans running, we've got the portable AC units out and all the things. It's been so nice. And that, as much as that trip was great, I also have another trip coming up at the end of this month, and I'm going to Disneyland with my boyfriend, my sister, and my best friend and her boyfriend as well. So the 5 of us are going to Disneyland. I'm very excited. My boyfriend has never been there before, so I'm excited that this is also going to be his like first time going, and I'm going to get to like see his reactions to everything. I think it will be really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. And again, that will probably mean that I'm not stitching for a few days, but the trips have been so amazing, right? Like those things are so important to do, to travel, to see new places, to spend time with people you really care about. So I really can't be mad that I haven't been stitching as much as I wish I was, because all of those things in the end are like probably way more important. So other than all of the amazing like fun non-work things that I've been doing, I have been so entirely extremely busy in the lab. I have been doing long experiments, spending far more hours at a time in lab than I want to, like to the tune of, I work in the basement with no windows and didn't even know it was really nice on Monday because I didn't go outside when it was nice. I was in the basement. I have also been doing a couple other really fun like work adjacent things, which is that I've been running our Science Now series, which is at Town Hall Seattle. So if you're in Seattle, please do come and experience these really awesome talks. The students that I taught last quarter in the science communication class that I taught are giving 20-minute talks about their thesis research to the public, whoever wants to come. Town Hall Seattle is not like the actual town hall. It's just a kind of, it's an organization that organizes a bunch of like community events and speakers and things like that. And they're really kind to host our series. We have 2 more events, one this Monday and one the Monday after that. I would totally highly encourage you to come if you're in the area. They're really fun. But that has also been very time consuming. And then I've also stepped up into a leadership position with the STEM outreach group that I am part of called STEM Pals. And so that has been also keeping me busy, but it's been really fun as well. So lots of good things happening in my my other STEM life besides the stitch life, but all good things in the end. All right, I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that I think my schedule for posting YouTube just has to change, right? I started this channel thinking that I wanted to try posting every week, at least for a while, to see what that was like, and to get myself into the community and get myself into a habit. And that was really fun while it lasted, but it's not sustainable for me. At the point in time when I started this, I had enough time to dedicate to that, doing that weekly. But filming a YouTube video and editing and uploading it takes a lot more time than you'd think it does. I mean, the filming alone takes an hour, right? And then however long the video is, plus the time it takes you to set up everything. And then you have to edit the video, which takes me at least as long as the video is, probably at least 1.5 times as long as the video is. And then I have a not that fast computer that takes often an hour or so to export the video, in at least that long to upload it to YouTube. I have to make the description, I have to make the thumbnail, I have to add in the tags and all of the things, right? The cards. It takes a while. Like it can easily take me like 3/4 of my Sunday to do something like this. And with being so busy in the week, I can't always do that. I can't always give up my weekend for something else, taking my time away from spending time with people around me. So all that is to say, I don't know what my new schedule is going to be. I'm debating if I want it to be every 2 weeks or once a month or just whenever it works for me. So maybe that's another question that I'd like to hear your feedback on. Do you like when the Flosstubers that you watch have set schedules and you know when they're going to post? Or do you not care and you'll just watch whenever the video comes out? I don't think I really pay attention most of the time. Like, I think if a video pops up in my subscriptions, then I add it to my watch later and eventually I watch it. So to me, the schedule maybe doesn't matter so much. But I'm curious what you think, and maybe I'll use that to kind of inform how my video schedule looks in the future. But I will not be posting every week anymore, I don't think. At least not for right now. Probably not for a few months, especially with also thinking of opening a shop, right? That's also taking time. So realistically, you could probably expect a video from me every 2 to 3 weeks, and maybe as much as only once a month in the future. But I hope that's okay. And I think that's kind of nice as well, because it means that I have more to show you every time I film a video. You get to see more progress on my pieces, you get to see more projects that I've worked on and all of that. So I hope that's all right, and that you still want to watch. So that's the end of this video. I'm not sure when I'll see you again. Hopefully one more time before the end of May, but maybe in early June. Until then, I hope you have a lovely week, a lovely few weeks. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you here next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.